What's up everybody, Pazu here with another video. We are here because Cloud Mommy has finally arrived, and this is quite the occasion to celebrate, I think. You might be wondering why we're up on this roof here. Let me tell you why, because this character right here is so much fun to play. I mean, who needs Spider-Man on the PS5 really, when you can do this, you know? If you feel like this, who needs New York City, man? Mondstadt is perfectly suitable. Look at this, look how much fun she is. Like how I'm gliding, jumping, hopping all over the place. She's just way too fun for exploration. But she's not just great for exploration, she's also a really good character in the game. I'd honestly go out on a limb and say she's a great Genshin Impact character. I missed my jump there, that's too bad. But yeah, I don't think she's a great character because she's super strong, but I feel like she is good plus pretty damn versatile, which makes her a great character overall. I mean, let's look at her versatility, right? She's really great for Diluc. She arguably makes Diluc the best standard banner DPS character now, honestly. She is really good with gaming. I have no intention of using him, really, to be honest, of building him. But from what I've heard, at least, she's really good with him, and it makes sense why she would be. She is really good with Xiao as well, the original pogo stick champion in the game, because she's a plunge support character, and Xiao is the original plunge DPS character. She buffs his damage quite a bit with her, what's it called? Let's look at the talents here. Sorry for the fireworks going off in the background, everyone's excited for Xianyun. Yeah, this right here, how she buffs the plunging attack up to 9000 based on her attack. And of course she enables plunging damage for everyone else, which is why she's good with a lot of teams. But she is not just great as a plunging enabler or buffer, she is also really good as just a gene replacement. For example, on this team right here, one of the most recent super comfortable teams in my opinion, Jello Impact likes this team a lot as well. You can run this team with Jean in the 4th slot and it's perfectly fine. But honestly, the reason why I like Xianyun here more than Jean is because Xianyun's healing is more spread out over time. Continuous healing. It does this healing straight away, and then this continuous healing over a duration of 16 seconds, which in my opinion works slightly better with Farina because not most of her healing is front-loaded like with Jean. That means on your first rotation, you don't waste all of your healing like you do with Jean, because on your first rotation in the Spiral Abyss, for example, you typically still have most of your health available. And so the fact that Farina then starts to gradually decrease your HP as Xianyun gradually does the opposite has more of a benefit to you on your first rotation than with Jean. Obviously Jean is ridiculous with the stacks generation on your second rotation and onwards, but for that first rotation, Xianyun is honestly the more comfortable pick, and we're not using any plunging shenanigans in this team, and she's still a great pick. I mean, if you look at these teams, you see all of them have Farina in them. You don't need Farina in there, but it just goes to show how like Farina is basically the most busted character in this game. She's just really that good that almost every team is improved with her. And to be honest, the fact that Xianyun works perfectly with the best character in the game goes a long way of making her powerful by association as well. So obviously Xianyun is great as a support character, but honestly, if you look at the weapon I'm using on her currently, and by the way, look at these sparkly balls, don't they just fit her drip perfectly? But yeah, if you look at this weapon here, the what's it even called? The Skyward, not the Skyward Pride, the Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, there we go. It's famously a DPS weapon, and the reason I'm using it on Xianyun is because, that's the wrong screen, it's because I actually prefer using Xianyun as an on-field DPS character. If you know me, which you don't, then you will know that I gravitate towards on-field DPS characters that aren't pure DPS characters. I mean, Hu Tao is great, Ayaka is great, but really my favorite DPS characters or on-fielders are characters like Kokomi. She's a great driver, facilitates the damage of the rest of your team, Raiden as well, she can do DPS, but she's also a battery for your team. Daya, she can do DPS, but she's also a super good defensive option, and I've made my Daya video, you can go check that out. And Xianyun is in that same vein, because you can use her as a DPS character, but she also brings other utility, which is her healing, of course, and her plunge enabling, which, I mean, basically, if you use her as a DPS character, she enables herself to plunge. And this team is not necessarily busted, but it still meets that threshold of being easily good enough to 9-star floor 12. And on top of that, it's just super fun to play. So I'll show you a quick Spiral Abyss showcase on 12.1.1 as we usually do. And then we'll talk a bit more about this team. So we're in the Spiral Abyss here on the screen, and by the way, something I wanted to mention is, wouldn't it be great if you could, after beating the Spiral Abyss, if you could select individual chambers and floors to replay as well if you've already beaten them, just for testing purposes? Because, you know, it's one thing to be able to just jump in and do this chamber over and over again, but if I wanted to test a team on, let's say, another chamber, right here, especially on floor 3 or whatever, it's such a hassle to have to go through all these chambers again. So I think it would be a really nice feature to just, once you've beaten the Spiral Abyss, to be able to select a specific chamber you want to test. But anyway, I don't want to go through all that hassle. We're just doing 12.1.1 again. And by the way, look how Xianyun blends in here between the Anemo boys. It's sometimes hard to find her. So yeah, let's try this team out. So here we are, Farina doing her shenanigans, Zhongli's shield into Faruzan stuff, into Xianyun stuff, and here we go. Look at this. Very nice 80Ks, 90Ks eventually, or sometimes in there as well, I think. We set up Farina's burst again. We do Faruzan stuff again. And then there's the DPS window again. And hopefully I don't get sniped by those dendro projectiles. And, well, that's it. What even was the time? I didn't even check. But yeah, good luck, Toma, on this one. Just kidding. So that was the team in a nutshell, and as you could see, we were pretty much able to do, or to make short work of that chamber. Is it chamber or floor? I always get them mixed up. Now, I do have to say that I have my Xianyun here at Constellation 2. Constellation 1 is really not helpful in combat at all. It's really just Constellation 2 that is a nice upgrade because the plunging attack bonus is doubled. So that skews the results that I just showed you a little bit, but to offset that, my Xianyun is only level 80, she's not even level 90. Her attack talent, which crucially includes the plunging damage multiplier, is only at level 6. My Faruzan that I used is only at level 70, which is crucial because one of her many buffs that she provides scales off her base attack, which is obviously not as high as it can be at level 70, with only a 4-star weapon as well, so her base attack could be a lot higher, which would improve my damage. Her level could be higher, which would improve the damage, and most importantly, her talent level could be a lot higher, which would also improve the damage. And with all of that, if you get this to level 9, if you get her to level 90, if you have her at level 90, with maybe even a 5-star weapon, you could easily offset the damage that I gain from Xianyun C2, if not even, like, far exceed that damage. So I'm looking forward to building this team more, but as you can see, it's already pretty much slaps. You can also replace Zhongli in this team with, for example, Fischl, and then you'd have sort of an Anemo slash Taser hybrid team. It also works really well. There are a bunch of options you can use in this third slot right here. I do think Farina is unfortunately quite, and not necessarily, but she is so good because Xianyun is not first and foremost meant to be a DPS character, so any character that can boost her damage as much as possible is really valuable in this team, and no one does that better than Farina. So plus, you know, the fact that her healing perfectly offsets her HP drain is just perfect. So while I don't think you need Farina to use Xianyun as a DPS, I mean, she probably improves the results a whole heck of a lot. But this slot right here is really flexible. You can put Bennett in for further buffs, Zhongli for the comfort, and as I've mentioned a bunch of times in my Dea video, I value comfort really highly. But yeah, there are a bunch of options for this slot. And then Farazan, we all know the Farazan dilemma, how she is really the unit you want to have at C6. And this banner here finally helped me get C6 Farazan, but I haven't fully built her yet. As you can see, I just slapped an old stringless on her. Because in this team, honestly, 157% ER is just about good enough for her to get her burst back. Plus, obviously, one of the constellations helps her with energy recharge. So yeah, that's a really good team. And if we look at my Xianyun stats here overall, you can see it's nothing crazy. I don't even crack the 3000 attack. My artifacts are not super good. I go 2-piece Viridescent, 2-piece Shimanaba for the attack damage bonus. My overall stats are nothing crazy. This sort of ratio looks like a Raiden ratio, honestly, except with a whole lot less energy recharge, but quite a bit more attack. But yeah, that's basically it. I mean, this team doesn't do as much damage, obviously, as the Xiao variant, but obviously Cloud Retainer is a way more attractive character than Xiao, and it works. And is super comfortable. I mean, I'm super glad to have pulled her, honestly. It's basically another new way to play the game for me, because I would never really use Xiao seriously or Wanderer seriously, because I don't like their characters, I don't like their designs. And I prefer playing female characters, to be honest, for a number of reasons. But yeah, this allows me to play a whole new archetype. If you're a degen like me, this will apply to you as well. And if you're not, and if you don't need Xianyun to be able to play in a Nemo DPS team, well, you still can pull her for that great utility that she provides to other teams as a supporter. But yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to say. Xianyun is a great pull, in my opinion, not maybe the most value, and maybe not the biggest upgrade over existing characters, because we already have Jean, but she is still a nice quality of life improvement with Farina because of that first rotation, where she's just more useful than Jean, as well as being a really nice DPS option herself if you want to use her that way. And that's everything for now. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.